This is Animus, I'm Aftermath. On October 22nd, 2015, W. McDevitt, lead writer on Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, musician, novelist, scriptwriter, and director, God among men, holiest of holy, brain surgeon by day, sexy werewolf by night, said to me that one of his favourite parts of the Animus Island podcast is its focus on the community. For this episode, we will continue to focus on that very thing. You're about to listen to a bunch of AC community members answer one question. What do you think of the Egypt 2017 rumour? The list of fellows in order of appearance can be found in the description with links to their Twitters. And if you're listening on YouTube, you can look at your screen at any point to see who is speaking. Now, please enjoy.
So hey guys, I'm Turul. I'm a subreddit monitor on the Assassin's Creed subreddit, and you can find me on Twitter as well at AC_Turul. Anyways, why we're really here today. So this whole leak, I'm pretty happy with it. I think if what has been said is true, I think that's one of the best things that could have happened to this series in a long time. So a lot of what's been going not so great with the series is the annual franchising and the lack of the modern day story and the fact that we're switching protagonists all the time, so we don't really get to see any, like, really get to know characters in any more than a surface level. So and we've also spent a ton of time in, like, Western European types civilization, so there's not a lot of variety. So I think ancient Egypt would be really interesting because it would take us back to a time period that is very different and will give opportunities for a maybe not completely different type of gameplay, but of a new variation on more than just the kind of Batman-like quick counter-based, really kind of fast-paced with a lot of, like, even things with, like, firearms, stuff like that. All that stuff can kind of be, we can bring it back to the basics. And I heard in one of the leaks that was based off of a 4chan post, so it's probably not very reliable, but the guy had mentioned something about, like, a Witcher approach where there's a more free-form combat and some RPG elements. And I think that could be, like, really interesting, and I think that could be really refreshing for the franchise. I'm not worried about missing an Assassin's Creed game. I mean, we've had 9 in the past 8 years, so I think we've kind of had our fill. And there's also going to be the movie next year, so we're already going to have one of that. There's rumor of an HD collection of who knows how many games. My guess it's somewhere in, like, the Ezio saga, or like maybe anything PS4 and Xbox One. So maybe even then we get another Assassin's Creed. And there's also the Chronicles games, which a lot of people don't really count, but, like, that fulfills a lot of the wants and needs of a lot of the hardcore fans and people that we talk to a lot. So the leak itself, I buy into. It was reported by Jason, I'm not sure what his name is, from Kotaku. So he has been someone that has leaked info on AC4, Unity, I believe Syndicate, maybe not. AC3, I'm pretty sure. Like, Kotaku's been a reliable source for leaks of the Assassin's Creed franchise. So I'm not really skeptical of what they have to say, and especially since he says he has multiple sources that he's corroborated this information with. So, I mean, we'll see. But I think if it's true, I think this is a really, maybe their biggest opportunity they've had in a very long time, since maybe, like, AC3, to really just bring the series back in a really exciting way. I know Syndicate, everyone really enjoyed. I thought it was a good game, but I feel like they have a really big opportunity here, and I think it sounds really exciting and could be really awesome. Or if it doesn't work, and this is all just a bunch of hoopla, then, like, I'd be pretty disappointed, and I think that kind of just staying the course that the series has been taking for a while now would be a mistake.
Hello, I'm Marco from Access the Animus, and I do like this potential setting, Egypt. I've traveled to Egypt when I was a kid with my parents, so I would like the setting in itself because I like the mystery that comes with it, and I've always been interested in Egyptian history. So on that side, I'm really interested. I hope the rumor becomes true, even though I didn't really like how it was treated, like how it was presented to the people, and as always, how Kotaku managed to show it to the public in that way. But I like the setting, and I like what was said about it. So I like the idea of this kind of game being more colorful, like Black Flag was, and I did like the work of the Black Flag team. So hopefully, if it's going to be true that it's going to be developed by the Black Flag team, I'd like to. I'm expecting a lot from it. I like the idea of this game having the chance either to be to have also other areas in Greece and Rome, or to have a trilogy on the same character, like it was said in some of the comments on 4chan. It would be nice because, having a trilogy about the same character gives a better chance to flesh out his story and stuff like that. And also being a super fan of the plot, saying that the story is set before Assassins and Templars even existed, it gives the developers, it would give the developers a chance to, explore a lot more of the lore and, how describe. I don't know if how the Assassins and Templars came to be, like how they were created, but at least being to create a sort of a prequel that is in line, of course, with the lore that already was created. But at the same time, it can, I feel like there's a chance, if this rumor proves to be true, there's a chance to, get some answers about some of the questions have been lingering since the beginning. So how the orders were created, who the father of understanding is, and I believe that the Egyptian mythology can be used along with the first Civ mythology. So there would be a very good chance of a nice story and of a nice expansion of the universe, of the lore in that way. And also, looking at the feature, I like the idea of this pet eagle that you can control, especially after looking at the sort of same feature that was implemented in Far Cry Primal, how that can be implemented in an AC game. And also I would like to see this kind of new Egyptian / African character, and see how what kind of new character they would be able to create in this new context. Also, he should be an ex-slave, so some heavy or deep thematics would be involved in his story if all of this is going to be true. And so after a light-hearted story with Syndicate, this premises may lead to a much more serious game. I hope that to be true, because it's good to have a light-hearted story, but at the same time, some of the best stories that were told in the Assassin's Creed universe were the more serious ones. And so, yeah, I'm interested in this kind of story, and also the gameplay as it was described in this, on 4chan, might be interested because it's going to be completely revamped. And the naval will be back, but as they said, it's not going to be like naval combat, but still there's going to be, if it's true, some sailing like in AC3. I did like the idea that it's not confined, it shouldn't be confined to just one big city, but there's some other, other landscape to explore. And I like the idea because I loved it in Black Flag. So hopefully, I like the idea of this rumor, and not how it was presented, but because as always, rumors, and especially when they are confirmed before the announcement, they all have negative consequences and negative response from at least from the hardcore fans. So it's always like a difficult kind of theme to face, the pros and cons of a rumor that becomes a leak.
My name's Wayne Davis. I run the YouTube channel Wayne Davis 89. I also talk about AC stuff on Twitter. My content's mainly focused on comedy stuff with news coverage, a bit of parody, critical commentary, review, and at this point in the Assassin's Creed franchise, leaks, rumors, and speculation are expected. The AC franchise and the lore and the world that Ubisoft have created is so vast and deep and compelling that rumors, speculation about story and what's going to happen next constantly pop up. But every so often there's rumors and major alleged leaks, like the ones recently in Egypt that are stating that there isn't going to be a game in 2016. We have to wait until 2017, and then that'll be set in Egypt. And we hear all these things, and every fan can say, or every fan would say, or expected to say, yes, that's a great idea. I love the idea of going to Egypt and the idea of having naval combat, traveling that particular era, being an assassin in that world. How does the assassin and Templar feud transpire? And with every one of those rumors that crops up, you can pretty much expect the exact same kind of response of excitement. But it's getting to the point where if it's not Kotaku leaking it, it's some random person on 4chan who's alleged to be an Ubisoft developer or a QA tester or related to the game in some way. And even though the fans are always excited when they read this stuff, a lot of it can end up being pandering, and a lot of it just ends up getting silly and out of control. At the end of the day, fans don't need the game spoil. We don't need the leaks, and we don't want all this stuff dropped at us out of nowhere. And it gets upsetting when, like recently with the 4chan stuff, like we heard the one about Egypt, and then we get another one talking about, oh no, there is a game in 2016, and it's set in Rome, and you're playing as Marcus Brutus, and there's going to be naval combat and all this kind of stuff. And in my mind, it's just all out pandering, because that's what the fans want. The fans are reading this stuff and people are posting this. Whether they're true or not is irrelevant. The fact is that there are people out there who decide to post this stuff, and the fans lap it up and milk it up because we are passionate. We're loving, dedicated fan base who really love and enjoy this franchise throughout the years. And it gets upsetting when you see these leaks and people get so excited, and it's like, well, no, the fans need to slow down. The fans need to understand that it's all rumors and speculation. There's no need to get on high horses or say this is a bad idea or this is a good idea and get defensive or too positive. It's a matter of looking at these rumors, saying, oh, if this is true, great, this sounds pretty fun. But then simply stepping back, as Jurassic Park is known for, life finds a way, and we will find a way on how to deal with these rumors, and Ubisoft will find a way to share this information. And And why can't they just be left to reveal at E3? I've never known another game or another franchise out there other than Assassin's Creed that gets so many leaks or alleged rumors or alleged developers or alleged QA testers saying all this, that, and the other. And it comes down to the point where I'm highly ambivalent. I'm excited when I read some of this stuff, where I think, oh, that sounds fun, that sounds interesting. But at the same time, I'm fed up of it. Pretty much just like everyone else, I would assume, where it's like, can we just stop all the rumors and speculation and just wait and see what the future holds for this franchise? We all have our ups and downs with the series, and it's important just to sit back and see what Ubisoft brings and then communicate our feedback directly to Ubisoft, and we help this franchise grow rather than getting too excited over rumors and speculation. We can have our theories, we can have our thoughts on the games, but as soon as a random anonymous post crops up on 4chan, we shouldn't take it as serious fact. We should take it at face value as what it is. It is an anonymous post, a completely 100% speculation and rumor, and take it at that, step back, and then wait until official confirmation.
Hello there, here's Mathieu from Access the Animus, and here's what I think of the game set in Egypt rumor. Confusion. So many rumors coming from many websites of people claiming to be working at Ubisoft or knowing people at Ubisoft are just, for me, a lot to handle at the moment. For now, everything must be treated as rumors until Ubisoft makes an official statement. But as fans, we obviously are trying to detangle what could be true from what makes no sense. I do believe that this game set in Egypt could very well be released in 2017. Back in December last year, there was a Microsoft conference in China, and a Ubisoft developer mentioned about AC that the development time period might be extended. Now, onto the part of the rumor where they say that the next game could be part of a trilogy. That too could be true, but would it be a trilogy like the Ezio one with the same character for the 3 games, or like the Kenway trilogy with 3 different characters? I prefer the first one, as I found that we don't get to know enough about one character in one game, and I always feel at the end of a game like Syndicate that there are so much more to tell. Personally, as an Assassin's Creed collector, I would welcome this break from a yearly release of the games. Few collectibles have already been announced for this year, and that's fine. But I'm sure they won't miss the opportunity to have some tied to the movie, which comes out in December. Having a game release on top of that would be just too much for me. And that's pretty much all I gotta say for now. Thanks for having me.
I'm Future Motiman on Reddit and Twitter. When I first heard about the leak, just from the 4chan post alone, I didn't really believe it at all. The way it was written was kind of strange. It seemed to be just like a list of things that people wanted, like a year gap between games, which many people have asked for. The idea that the gameplay was going to be more like The Witcher, which has been very popular, I've seen recently, and so maybe people might like that. I think that Ancient Egypt might be a pretty requested setting, although I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of mentions of it, probably because Ashraf has mentioned before that he would want to do Ancient Egypt, and I believe it was Alex Hutchinson who said that he didn't want to make a game there. I did find the statement that described that it was made by the AC4 team to be sort of interesting. I know that AC4 is very popular and more people would want to see games made by people like Ashraf and Darby. But that did seem kind of vague because I know that AC4 was very popular. And they even mentioned ships. Another thing that people really liked. So it just seems sort of like a wish list. And then there are other things that didn't make very much sense to me, like the way they described the combat system and the idea of controlling an eagle was sort of interesting to me, although I guess it doesn't sound entirely unrealistic considering what we've seen in, say, Far Cry Primal, from what we've seen of that so far. Later when Kotaku reported on it, they had mentioned that they had other sources that had said similar things about how there was going to be an Ancient Egypt game released in 2017. And really after that, I've just been sort of in between. I wouldn't be surprised if it was real, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was fake at this point. I found it interesting how the original article mentions that there could be a Watch Dogs 2 instead of an AC game this year, even though they didn't seem to mention any potential sources that had informed them of a Watch Dogs 2, but they seemed pretty confident that we'd be hearing about Watch Dogs 2 sometime this year, although they didn't mention that anyone had informed them of that. There's a tweet more recently that said that there could be an AC 2016, but with Empire still happening in 2017, I think that would make sense. It could be a game like AC Rogue where it doesn't change very much the gameplay, but still provides a new story, and another AC game for a year. Another thing that I think many people have mentioned is a sort of AC collection of last-gen games on current-gen consoles. First, I thought something like that would work best next year, considering it would be the 10-year anniversary. But I think it might particularly work well this year if we are really having a break between games, because the movie, if it's good, could potentially bring a lot of interest to many more people for the series. And I think that a collection of many AC, of like all the older AC games, would be a very easy way to get people to jump on board into the games.
Hello, I'm Lawson from the Bureau, and here's what I've been thinking about the Egypt leak, well, rumors, I guess you could say. First thing that I want to say is that there's been a lot of really negative reaction aimed at Kotaku. This is basically the third time in a row that they've, in many people's opinions, spoiled the release or setting or whatever of the next game. And I just want to say that I'm really, really glad that they leaked it this time around. Because here's what would have happened to us as a community had they not leaked Assassin's Creed Empire. We would have gone from now until, May, thinking, speculating, wondering about what would happen in the next Assassin's Creed game, expecting one to be coming out in October, November of this year. We would have been throwing around all of our ideas and thoughts and, speculation, just as we do every year on the subreddit, on our shows, on other things, and on Twitter. And then E3 would have rolled around, and there would have been no mention of Assassin's Creed. Nothing. And we would have been left completely scratching our heads as to the future of the franchise, with probably zero official indication from Ubisoft that there'd be another game this year. And that would have sucked. Now, at the beginning of 2016, finding out that there's not going to be a game this year is pretty much awesome. It's pretty great, because we don't have to build ourselves up, hype ourselves up for a game that's never going to come this year. We're not going to be theorizing, speculating, or coming up with ideas for a game for this year. We can just get a head start on speculating for the next one. And I think that's a good thing. And so many people are just like hurling total hatred at Kotaku for doing this, like you didn't want to know. And I think that what we're doing, what we have right now, is a much better alternative to speculating mercilessly for the next 6 months and then having absolutely nothing to show for it. Other than that, my personal feelings are, I'm not one of those people who's always been wanting AC to take a year off. I have nothing in the way of franchise fatigue. If anything, I'm kind of disappointed that we're not getting a game this year. I was looking forward to what kind of game we'd be playing this year. Um, but many other people are excited, and I understand why. And if they needed the year, they should take it. I would rather Empire be delayed till next year and be an awesome game than be rushed into release this year and disappoint all of us, because that seems to be the trend with games that completely reinvent the wheel from previous entries. Games like AC3 and Unity end up being very divisive, disappointing games, and Empire is looking to be a reboot of that nature. And if the extra year can keep it from stumbling in the way that Unity did, then that's awesome. Because the idea of refreshing the franchise every 2 games is a pretty cool one, but if all of the refreshes have major issues, then only 50% of the games they ever release will be good. And that's not a reality that is interesting. So, I mean, if it's necessary, that's fine. Just, go ahead, take the year off and move forward. Ancient Egypt as a setting doesn't thrill me at all, to be honest. I've not had much interest in any ancient settings. I trust the series, and I trust that I'll be blown away by the game and suddenly be really interested in ancient Egypt, but I was really hoping for at least one more game with a very modern setting, like, World War I, industrial New York, something like that is what I really wanted. And failing that, I would have liked a game in an Asian setting like Japan or China, preferably Japan. I was really hoping for and almost expecting a feudal Japan game this year. And like the ancient stuff, the Egypt, Rome, Greece, all that was probably at the bottom of my list in terms of settings that I want to see in an AC game. But I'm still excited because I just love this franchise and I love the series, and I can't wait to see where they take it. So that's all I have to say about the leak, and thank you for having me.
Hello, I am Zero Region from the subreddit and also on Twitter. So the rumor is quite intriguing. I'd say that's the best word I can use to describe it. Not instantly hyping me, but definitely very intriguing in terms of the setting and especially how far back they are going. If this is true, I think that is a really good sign, because them going so far back would show that they are fine with going to different settings and showing up different time periods, no matter how far back it is. We got a glimpse of that with Black Flag, but this gap is much larger, and so I'm very interested to see how that also affects gameplay, because I was already interested to see how gameplay would be affected due to the next game with most likely the lack of a rope launcher or anything like that. So I'm excited to see how gameplay changes to fit the setting as well, and how mechanics and everything adjust to that. And in terms of the leak itself, I think it's also very interesting how it was leaked, it being on 4chan, saying that they have other sources that, say similar things. I think that I normally don't care for leaks too much, because I would like the surprise of the reveal. But let's say if they were going to go without saying anything about an AC this year at E3 or anything, I would have liked to know, so that I can prepare myself for not expecting one this year, instead of speculating or getting hyped up and then, just to be disappointed about no announcement. So I think in that case I definitely am okay with it being leaked, but if they were going to announce it this year, then I would have preferred it to just be a big surprise, because it would have been really surprising if they showed some maybe art or maybe a small trailer, something to tease the game, because I don't think anyone was expecting a year off and this setting.
Hello, I'm Freddie Griswold and I moderate the Assassin's Creed subreddit, and I've been asked to come chat about the leaks. The first thing I sort of thought when it was released is that Kotaku were obviously a bit on the edge of the cliff with Ubisoft. They've been apparently blacklisted, said they won't be receiving any more things, which doesn't really lend any credibility to the rumour. Obviously, it points towards it being a bit bullshit, really. But there are several things, A while ago there was the Osiris League, I think it was called, which looked a lot like ancient Egypt, and nothing really came out of that, so that might be leading onto that. Obviously, there've been, I think the Egypt thing kind of leads in because they've been playing around with rifts and stuff and the historical things like leaping back and forwards. Obviously, Syndicate going from 1868 to the First World War, and people have been asking a lot for a Napoleonic Egypt game because that would sort of bring Arno and Connor together. That's something people have wanted a lot, so I think that would be good. A bit of like a fan service, a bit like Rogue was really overall. Also, the fact that the film's coming out this year, you'd think they would give the game a miss. So when they're saying that they'll skip 2016 and just go on to 2017, that makes sense to me, because obviously people be getting a bit fatigued about the game, because the early AC games they're not bad per se, they're just not particularly good. They don't have much depth. They're a bit nah. So I think missing a year is probably the best thing they could do in this situation. And whether they're going to be E3 or not, I don't know. Whether they're going to confirm it anytime soon. But people are thinking that they'll give it on like a 1-2 year with Watch Dogs. So I mean, Watch Dogs this year, Assassin's Creed next year, Watch Dogs year after that. That I think that'd be a good idea. I'd love to see a bit more Watch Dogs and a bit more time taking over Assassin's Creed. So it sounds interesting to me. Whether it's real or not, to me, any form of leak, no matter who it's from, no matter what it's about, is complete bollocks until it's confirmed by Ubisoft or something. So at the moment, I don't know. Ancient Egypt seems a bit like a interesting concept, but I don't know if it would actually pull off very well. It seems like, I'm not a genius, but it seems like a very flat kind of thing in terms of cities, and they've got pyramids, but it's just a pyramid really. Who wants to climb a pyramid? But I think it'd be interesting to see that after obviously parkour at the minute, it's very up, down, over the sides of buildings, jumping off shit. But I think they could quite easily alter that to be a bit more like Sleeping Dogs or Watch Dogs, where it's more focused on running, getting from point A to point B, jumping over shit, vaulting, whatever, rather than climbing up the sides of big like buildings. So that'd be good with like marketplaces, lower, flatter buildings, much flatter terrain. That'd be a challenge they'd have to do. They'd have to go ahead with. So overall, really, I think it will be interesting to see in terms of how they're going to sort of adapt the game to it. Because I think, people have been calling it like a reform of the game series, really. I think more than anything, that's what it needs right now. We've had, 8 or so games of Assassin's Creed, and it's just starting to get a bit stale. So I think a year off, a bit more time into it, making sure everything's nice, smooth around the edges, some new ideas, making it a new game really would be a perfect thing for Ubisoft really in the end.
Hi everyone, my name's Carl and I'm community admin on the Once Again Before. So recently, Ancient Egypt was put forward on 4chan. I think it'd be a really interesting setting, but the fact that it was on 4chan, it made me think it was fake at first, but then Kotaku started going on about it. So then I started looking into it a bit more, and in the details it was saying things like you could have a pet eagle, which I think is really interesting. Synchronizing on pyramids would also be really interesting. The fact that you can have mirages, so you could be out in the desert and then you could just see like water or something. It would be like hallucinating kind of. And then you could have camels in Egypt, obviously, so that would be interesting. I think it's a good idea for them to skip a year, like put back a year, so that it will give them time for the movie this year and more time to work on the game. I'm also hoping for first Civilization members in this game, because it's the oldest to have been. It's before Masyaf by like over 1,000 years, so it makes that look quite modern. I also want Pieces of Eden in this game, like the Ankh. But the thing is that I'm a bit worried about, is it too old for an Assassin's Creed game? Because it's ancient history, and the thing I've really wanted is a next-gen Share game. I've always wanted Share to be on next-gen platforms, because that hasn't happened yet. But I think it'd be a really interesting setting, but I just don't want any more leaks. I'd rather Ubisoft like announce something like this at E3, because Kotaku and 4chan, it's not the best way to learn about a new game, but hopefully it's a really interesting setting, and I'm looking forward to it if it is Egypt.
Hey everyone, I'm Brett. I run the YouTube channel UB Central, where I cover AAA Ubisoft games, but I'm mainly known for my Assassin's Creed videos, and I've been busy making a lot on this supposed leak, which I'm sure you all know about. It started out with this guy on 4chan claiming he was a Ubisoft developer, and in his post he stated that there wouldn't be an Assassin's Creed game this year, which I personally wouldn't mind. I think that Ubisoft should definitely take a break from the series, especially after Unity's issues. I mean, don't get me wrong, Syndicate was good, but because of Unity, they ended up taking out, an online mode, which was really disappointing. And I feel like if they actually took this year off, they would have more time to develop an online mode while still having that amazing story. But yeah, originally I thought this was just a rumor, but then Kotaku made this article stating that they have a source and there will actually be a game coming out in 2017 that takes place in Egypt. And Kotaku has been known for their leaks in the past, especially with Assassin's Creed, which now makes me believe this is more of a leak than a rumor. And in my opinion, that sucks. If I was a developer, I would want to announce a game that I've been working on myself. And with leaks, they could possibly be giving out wrong information. And again, it sucks. I mean, from a fan's perspective, it also ruins the surprise, and it's a bit weird too because Far Cry Primal was announced out of nowhere and no one saw it coming, but Assassin's Creed just keeps getting leaked time and time again. But yeah, I think Ancient Egypt would be an alright setting. I'm not particularly into it, but I know Ubisoft would create an amazing world around it because that's what they do. And if they do end up taking this year off, I would love to see the Assassin's Creed collection. If you don't know, they recently bought that domain, assassinscreedcollection.com, I think it was. And I would love to see a remaster of Assassin's Creed 1 through 3. That also, includes Revelations and Brotherhood. I just hope that they do that. And I'm not really sure. It doesn't seem like anyone really knows what's happening. And whatever Ubisoft ends up doing, I'm definitely going to support. And that guy on 4chan also said that it would be a prequel to all the ACs. And I really wouldn't mind seeing that because after Desmond's modern day story, it's just been kind of bland, especially the modern day. So hopefully this would actually ignite the Assassin's Creed series again if they do end up doing this. If not, I'm not going to be mad or upset. I just hope they take this year off.
All right, so I am Neo Nugget from the Assassin's Creed subreddit and Twitter, and my thoughts on Egypt are I'm not really surprised, but I'm really glad it's coming because there have been tons of hints in Dead Kings and just a whole bunch of other media things. But yeah, I'm not really happy with how it was leaked. But I'm really excited because I'm not letting go that we're done with Arno and Napoleon. So I'm hoping we see, if it is true that it's ancient Egypt, I'm thinking it would be cool to see like some sort of Brotherhood, Revelations kind of pseudo hybrid thing. You have, like in Revelations, you had Ezio and Altair. And maybe in this game we could have Arno and some sort of new protagonist. And then they could sort of reuse both maps, kind of like Monteriggioni in Brotherhood with the modern day and how we saw it kind of destroyed after AC2. So that would be kind of something different, but I think they would have to kind of play with it a little to make it work. Because Arno already had a full game. I don't think it might have to be like a 50-50 split. I think that'd be pretty cool, but I don't know. We'll have to see what they do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm really excited. I hope it's true. I'd be fine with it in 2017, but I'm not picky. I just hope we see some sort of Arno thing going on, because, it just makes sense.
Hello, I am Katie, aka the Cliffhangers on Twitter and the subreddit, and I'm just going to be talking about the Ancient Egypt rumors/leak, and here are my thoughts. Ancient Egypt is a setting I've been wanting for a really long time, back before the days of Unity. Like, it was the French Revolution and then Ancient Egypt, and then after Unity happened, it's been Ancient Egypt ever since then. I'm really fascinated by the ancient era more than the modern era, so I really like this rumor that we're going way back in time, because Syndicate was probably too modern for me. And I've noticed, like, thinking about it, there's a lot of Egypt hints in Unity, Dead Kings, and the French comics. And another thing I've been kind of wondering is if there is an Ancient Egypt game, if maybe we could have Arno memories in a flash forward, kind of like how Assassin's Creed Revelations had Altair flashbacks through the memory disks. I don't know if they could do something similar, or if they'll just say, nah, let's be done with Arno, he was unpopular or whatever. But I don't know if anyone has ever played, I don't know how to really say this correctly, but Sphinx, the legend, I think it was like the Lost Mummy. I played that as a kid, and it kind of got me liking Ancient Egypt as a kid. It was a perfect setting for a game, and I've kind of discussed this with some friends before, like why I think Ancient Egypt would make a perfect setting for an AC game, because I was thinking like you could do pyramid raids, like find a way to navigate a pyramid, find what you need, get out, scan hieroglyphs for lore, kind of like how Rogue, you looked at cave paintings, and maybe hunting, chariots, river navigation, going through deserts, and then not to mention like the usual AC stuff. That would be pretty cool. And I love Assassin's Creed, but I think I'd love it more right now if it took a break. So I really wouldn't mind waiting a year to play another game and just have the movie in 2016. That would probably be enough for me. And I'd love for Ubisoft to try and innovate the game more rather than just keep themselves to an annualized deadline. And that's what I thought. That's what I think about the Ancient Egypt leak. Thanks for your time.
This has been Animus Island. I'm Aftermath. They have been Turul, Marco, Wayne, Matthew, Putrid, Lawson, Zero, Fred, Cole, Brett, Neo, and Katie. If you have any feedback, make sure to leave it in the comments. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, leave an upvote, or leave a positive rating wherever you may be listening to this. I will see you next week for all my thoughts on Chronicles India.